Hi, Sweaty Jen back again, and Nini-chan. Today's video is going to be about discussing the benefits of having hyperhidrosis. I know sometimes it seems like there's no possible way there could be any benefits to having this condition, but there are. The first that I put on my list is kind of weird, but it's one that I find myself thinking about often, and that's the fact that our hyperhidrosis acts as kind of a defense system. And what I mean by that is if somebody grabs our hand who we don't want grabbing our hand, we're able to slide away so easily out of any grip. Hypothetically, if somebody abducted you and tied your hands together, hyperhidrosis is going to loosen whatever they put on our wrists to try to restrain us. My cat wants to leave. So yeah, it kind of acts as like an extra little defense mechanism for us in the fact that we can escape things easily. And then also when you slap someone with a sweaty hand or a wet hand, it hurts worlds more than somebody getting slapped with a dry hand. The next benefit is that animals like cats kind of seem to enjoy sweaty hands. So first and foremost, always wash your hands after you pet animals, especially when you have hyperhidrosis, to get all the hair off your hands. But I've noticed with cats, they love when I pet them when my hands are clammy or sweaty because I think it kind of mimics how their mom's tongue feels cleaning them. So sometimes I'll just keep petting my cat and getting all of her shedded hair off of her, and she loves it. But yeah, animals seem to kind of like that we can clean off that shedding fur for them. Another benefit is that if something sticky like jelly or glue gets on our hands, we can just sweat it right off, sweat the stickiness away. And obviously sweating is no substitute to proper hand washing, but I think sweating and getting rid of that sticky glue residue and stuff is another little secret benefit to having it. We can also remove stickers and spots off of things easier because of our sweaty hands. We're able to just kind of rub it and help break it down a little bit more. We are also able to flip pages a lot easier than somebody without it. Just keep flipping, no worries. Whereas when my sweating's completely under control and I'm not having breakthrough sweating, I have trouble flipping pages, extreme trouble flipping them. And this is extra beneficial for pages like Bible pages or that really, really thin paper. Our sweat just lets us flip those pages so fast. And when I was a kid, I always wondered why people would wear those weird rubbery things on their fingers to flip pages, but I totally get it now. And that's a definite little secret benefit of having hyperhidrosis. Another cool thing we can do because of our sweating is those color changing items that change because of getting wet. We can just hold them and they'll change because of our sweat. And a specific example that sticks out to me is when I was growing up, I had this scuba Barbie, and she would basically get a scuba suit on when she was submerged in water. And I used to sit there for hours just squeezing her legs with my hands and putting my fingerprints on her legs with my sweaty fingers. So that's another little fun perk, that thing we can do. It might not be that useful, but it's certainly entertaining. The next is we can give a worn, a very old and worn look to paper within minutes because of our sweat. For example, this is a paper I held for, I want to say 5 minutes. And I just held it and crumpled it a little bit. And doesn't it look super old, it's been through some stuff? So if anyone needs their documents to look historical or extremely old, just call someone with hyperhidrosis. We can get it done in no time at all. The next is a lot of us never even need to use lotion. And this is something new I've had to start using is lotion. Before I took Glyco, I seriously never used lotion. My hands and my feet, everywhere was completely soft, to the point of some people saying it felt like plastic. But now that I take Glyco, I notice sometimes I do get dry skin and I have to use lotion like a normal person would. And I was telling my mom about how I found that to be like cool and interesting part of taking the medicine. And she was just like, yeah, you were probably wondering why there's entire aisles of the store dedicated just to lotion, but now you see why. So people with hyperhidrosis, we typically have super soft skin. I get compliments all the time on people saying my hands are really soft, and then they proceed to start sweating profusely because they commented on it. Also, I don't know if this is true, but it seems like it could be that we sweat out more waste and toxins than a normal person, because I know when you're working out and sweating and stuff like that, it's beneficial for your body. And so I like to think, because we have hyperhidrosis and we sweat pretty frequently, that perhaps it's having some benefit to our body overall, getting rid of extra waste and toxins. However, this can also be a huge negative if you're not staying hydrated and if you're not replacing the electrolytes you're using. Having your electrolytes off balance can cause a lot of physical and even mental discomfort. So definitely make sure you replace your electrolytes and you stay extra hydrated when you have hyperhidrosis. And I even like to just drink straight up pickle juice sometimes. And it's a very acquired taste, but that's something I do if I'm having a lot of sweating, is trying to make sure that I'm replacing the lost electrolytes. Like, here's my palm right now. Sorry, it's kind of dirty from my cat. It sucks. Hyperhidrosis gives us something unique about ourselves. So it's kind of interesting, like during those get to know you questionnaires, when they're saying list off something unique about yourself, we always have something to put, because hyperhidrosis is a very unique problem to live with. Um, and then it just kind of gives us something that makes us a little bit different and out of the norm. It also makes us more sympathetic to people who have embarrassing or misunderstood conditions like we have. And I think that's very important, because we all need somebody who understands us and accepts us. And people with hyperhidrosis, I think, are generally more accepting, because we understand how it feels to be misunderstood and judged. And I think that's a huge benefit that we bring to the world. Despite the negative things that come from having our condition, this is a huge perk that comes with it, is that we are much more empathetic, compassionate, and understanding of other people who are experiencing similar feelings that we have. It also gives us a very unique taste in fashion and the clothes we decide to wear. Oftentimes, people with hyperhidrosis are probably not going to be wearing the latest trendy clothes or anything that's very revealing. I know for me, as someone with hyperhidrosis, while growing up, I made a lot of unique fashion decisions, and some of those have come with me into adulthood. I like to choose clothes that not only make me feel confident in how I look in the clothes, but also clothes that make me feel confident that it's going to hide my sweat for the most part and provide me kind of a little shell to hide in with my hyperhidrosis. So I wear a lot of gloves, I wear hats, scarves, unique socks. I never wear open toed shoes. And a lot of people comment on my clothing decisions, and especially like in the warmer months, a lot of people will comment on the clothes I decide to wear. But it's what makes me feel comfortable and happy. And if it's making me kind of appear weird or like I have a weird fashion sense, even better, right? And so, yeah, I think that's a definite perk. And maybe sometimes it feels like it's a disadvantage because we just want to wear like those really pretty flip-flops or that spaghetti strap tank top or whatever it is. But ultimately, I think it's a positive that we're forced to get creative with what we decide to wear and come up with little unique solutions to help us get through the day with our sweating, based on the clothing choices that we make. It also forces us to march to the beat of our own drum. For a lot of us, hyperhidrosis develops in our adolescent years or our childhood when we're still forming and figuring out who we are and what our place is in the world. And I think dealing with hyperhidrosis while in this critical development stage in life, it kind of forces us to figure out those positive things we like about ourselves, because we have our sweating that's making us, go through a whole world of misery on the inside, but it makes us have to kind of march to the beat of our own drum and figure out what unique things about ourselves that we like so that we can continue going forward each and every day. And I think it's so important, not only when you're a teenager or a kid or a young adult or even middle aged. I think it's so important to keep marching to the beat of our own drum despite not fitting into society's perfect mold all of the time. We have to keep fighting on to love ourselves and to figure out the things that we want to bring to the table and portray to the people that we're meeting. It makes us different and unique. And that's great. Being different and unique is always going to be better than just being someone who's very stereotypical and blah. And I don't think many people are blah, but hyperhidrosis makes us definitely be not blah. Another huge perk to having hyperhidrosis is that somebody really loves you if they completely accept your sweating and your hyperhidrosis and the roller coaster of emotions that come with having hyperhidrosis. So it's hard dating and meeting new people when you have to live with this condition. But ultimately, if somebody sticks around despite your sweating and despite the feelings of, the negative feelings that are associated with having hyperhidrosis, if somebody's still accepting you and loving you and even telling you they don't mind your sweating at all, they genuinely care about you, they genuinely enjoy your company, and they like to hang out with you and enjoy your personality. So it kind of adds this extra layer of security and making sure somebody's not just wanting to be with you because of your physical appearance or because of your material possessions or whatever the superficial reason could be. I think hyperhidrosis also gives us a little red alert system in our bodies. So our hyperhidrosis oftentimes will signify to us, hey, I'm sweating because I'm anxious or I'm uncomfortable or I'm nervous. And that can be a big trigger for hyperhidrosis, is those kind of jittery, antsy feelings like anxiety and stuff. So I think our hyperhidrosis is kind of like an alert, like, hey, I'm uncomfortable. This situation is putting me in an uncomfortable position and I don't feel good right now. I think a lot of times we start sweating for literally no reason at all, but a lot of times we can start sweating for reasons that we might not even understand until we look around and notice something that's making us uncomfortable in the moment. We are also forced to build more confidence and to love ourselves even harder than somebody who doesn't have to deal with hyperhidrosis. You oftentimes will look much more deeply at somebody's personality than just their physical appearance. The last one I have here is, I think having hyperhidrosis makes us more detail-oriented people. A lot of times I notice I focus on the small details of things or the very trivial parts of a situation rather than the entire situation. So, a good example that a lot of you can relate to are job interviews. I know a lot of us worry more about the handshake portion of the interview than the actual interview itself. And I think this could be a negative too, but a lot of times I think it can be a positive because we're so focused on the handshake or the small little thing that's going to happen. It makes us more calm for the actual big event that's taking place, which is the interview. And I think that's kind of a secret perk to having it. So I don't know if that's just me that's more detail oriented, but I definitely think that excessive sweating has contributed to that kind of outlook and mindset that I have. So, what are some benefits that you've noticed about having hyperhidrosis? Even if they're silly or funny, I'd love to hear them, especially during a time like this with a lot of craziness happening in the world. We could all use a good laugh and a good little positive outlook. And I've also been playing a game I want to recommend to you guys too called Animal Crossing New Horizons. The reason I want to recommend this game on my channel is I think it's a great game for someone with hyperhidrosis to play because you can kind of take a break at any time you want. So I noticed when I start sweating a lot, I really don't want to break my Switch controllers because there's so many moving parts of this console that like if I get water damage in it, a lot of things could probably go very wrong. But I've been able to keep putting down the controllers when I'm sweating and adequately make sure I stop sweating. And it's just a good game, I think, for somebody who's sweating a lot that we can take more frequent breaks on a game like this, whereas on a game like Grand Theft Auto, for example, you're really constantly like amped up and running and shooting, doing crazy stuff, and it's hard to put the controllers down to prevent the water damage from happening. I do want to thank Collective Light for recommending me to make this video about benefits of having hyperhidrosis. I think it was a great idea. It was a lot of fun to think about like those little secret positive attributes that it brings to the table. And keep your eyes out for the next video. It's going to be a pretty fun one to make, I hope. I'll see you guys soon. Please stay safe, stay healthy, happy, and keep loving yourself. I'll see you guys soon. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and leave me a comment. Bye.